Why People Over 40 Must Start a YouTube Channel. That was the title of Rob the Maritimer's video that he produced over a year ago. And let me just tell you that that video struck a nerve. Over 500,000 people viewed that video. And what I wanted to do today is I wanted to go over some of the points, kind of react to it, and maybe underscore some caveats about whether or not it is practical, wise, or prudent to start a YouTube channel today, especially if you're over 40, if maybe you're a Generation Xer like me. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at this. A lot has changed in the last year. For example, AI has really caught on. It's heavily influencing the marketplace when it comes to video. Not only that, but YouTube has also grown. Did you know that watching YouTube via the television set has actually surpassed watching YouTube on a handheld? This is a pretty big change. So it begs the question on what kind of format should we use as YouTubers? What kind of media should we be producing? Are shorts still beneficial? All of these things are questions that one needs to ask if you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel. There are many kinds of channels to start. And as an older person over 40, maybe you've got an edge in some area that you haven't thought about. So let's get into this. First, we're going to talk about some of the things that Rob talked about on his channel, Rob the Maritimer. Excellent channel. Check it out. I'll put a link in the description. So one of the earliest things that is underscored in Rob's video is this notion that people over 40 have life experience that younger creators simply don't have. And I resonate with that. I think that's true. We do bring things to the table because we have insight, we have experience, we have life understanding and discernment that maybe a younger person hasn't quite developed yet. So we have unique points of view and positions that can be discussed that I think are valid and worthy of viewing. There's going to be people out there that resonate with your viewpoint on things. So I agree with him on that point. I would say, as a caveat, that experience by itself doesn't guarantee clear teaching, good packaging, or even audience demand. And these are all things to consider if you're going to start a YouTube channel. So for me as a Gen Xer, I've had to start over in life several different times. And I had another channel that had 15,700 subscribers, but unfortunately, I lost that channel and now I'm starting over. So I know this about myself. I want to live overseas. And so generating income remotely is part of my strategy to be able to live where I want to live. You may have your reasons for starting a YouTube channel, so keep watching and we're going to go ahead and continue to evaluate some of the things that Rob said that pertain to your situation. So Rob told us that you don't need to be the top expert. You only need to be a little bit ahead of the person that you're starting to teach. And this is kind of like that old school mentality back in the day where the ninth grade student would teach the eighth grade student, or the third grader would try to help the second grader. And this is true to a degree, but I want to add a caveat here. This works for beginner-friendly topics. In serious topics like health, money, law, theology, technical training, shallow expertise can be deeply misleading. I'm not a big fan of the whole fake it till you make it type of strategy. I think people will see through that, and it doesn't lead to a healthy fan base, nor does it create people that really want to buy from you because that whole trust factor is missing, I feel like. So I think the caveat here really depends upon your niche. You don't want to be somebody that's pretending to be something that you're not. The people that succeed on YouTube are oftentimes the most genuine. People are really looking for genuine connection these days, I feel like. So on the topic of niche or niche, however you want to pronounce it, he says that you need to define what your channel is all about. He says that it gives your channel direction. And then he gives examples like gardening, fitness, yoga, Excel, tech, and how to as channels that might be down your alley. I want to say that absolutely knowing what your niche is vital to the success of your channel. However, It can take time to develop that. You may find that you're creating YouTube channels about one thing, and that over time there's a progression towards something else. And so I do think that allowing yourself time to figure out what your niche is, what your speciality is. Don't be so hard on yourself immediately. It takes time to develop your voice, to develop the content that you want to produce. And there's an art form to discovering what your niche is. There's a lot of different YouTube videos out there that can help you to do that. But ultimately, you're going to have to decide what's your interest, what is a topic that you can keep making content about, and what is valuable to you and to other people. That's part of the whole niche discovery quest and challenge. He makes the point that crowded niches can still have room, even if other people are already making content on that topic. He says you can differentiate yourself through personality, style, teaching approach, or angle. And you don't have to be better than everybody else to help somebody. I want to push back on that just a little bit because there are some niches that are pretty saturated with content creators, and it's going to be difficult for you to break into that. And he makes it sound a little bit more simplistic than I think it will actually be for some people, depending on your niche. There are certain points out there, like the creators that are already in your niche, they already have the trust. They've developed excellent thumbnails. They have stronger audience signals. They have more feedback. So just be aware that there could be some difficulty if your niche is really saturated with a lot of content creators. It may take longer for you to develop. However, I will say that there are like 2 billion people that watch YouTube on a monthly basis. So I believe that for most people, your niche is out there, your voice needs to be heard, and your tribe is waiting for you. You just got to find them. So Rob says, put your face in the videos, show your face. It helps viewers to connect with you. It builds trust. It makes you and your videos feel more personal. It helps turn you into part of the brand. And I agree with this, especially in the age of AI slop, where people are just making mass amounts of video and throwing them up on YouTube. YouTube is cracking down on a lot of those kind of videos. But I would also add that there are still channels that are having great success that are faceless, history channels, and channels that are just doing documentary style of videos. These are all channels that are showing success still, and maybe that's your niche. Maybe that you're somebody that is excellent at narration. I would just say use your voice because YouTube is starting to detect these AI voiceovers, and it doesn't seem to work out well for some of those channels. And this one kind of ties into the last one. He talks about your face, voice, personality, and presence separating you from generic content channels. Really underscores personal branding again. And that can be especially useful in education or tutorial content, he says. But I just want to encourage you, if you're a reputation sensitive person, if you're introverted and you just don't want to have your face on camera, or that's something that you're just simply not comfortable with, but you still want to have a YouTube channel, you can develop a channel around a useful concept, a method, or a promise instead of necessarily your personality. All right, this next one is a big one. He says, do not rely on YouTube ad revenue. YouTube monetization usually starts small. Ad revenue may be $50, $100, $200, or $300 per month for a long, long time, he says. And you should not build a business strategy solely around YouTube monetization. I think it's a very valid point. I would just add the caveat that some channels earn far more than other kinds of channels. For example, business, finance, software, some educational channels, they make a lot more money from ad revenue than other kinds of entertainment channels, for example. So ad revenue should not be ignored, but it usually is part of a several stream business strategy. Okay, and again, this next topic kind of ties into the last one. Use YouTube as lead generation. I think it's a strong point. YouTube can attract people interested in your topic. Videos can build trust with viewers over time, and your audience can eventually become customers, buyers, or community members. These are all excellent and valid points if you're thinking in terms of using YouTube as a way to generate income or as a business. So, what this is actually saying to me is that we still need to be thinking in terms of an entrepreneurial mindset, even though we're older. Lead generation, for example, only works if there's a clear next step. Creators need to be thinking in terms of email lists, your product. Do you have a service that you're offering? What is your offer? All of these things are vital to developing your YouTube business strategy. And something to remember up front is that many YouTube channels are successful in gaining audience attention, but they fail in turning that audience attention into revenue for the channel or for their business. Rob's next point is going to seem really obvious. Nonetheless, YouTube cares greatly about this. He says, be consistent because consistent uploading is one of the most important factors in growing a YouTube channel. Maybe a beginner should think about posting at least once a week and usually twice a week. I don't think he was including shorts in that. Nonetheless, your schedule should be realistic, he says. So the pushback to this one can be a little bit brutal because consistency alone does not necessarily equate to channel growth. If you're posting weak content, what you might actually be doing is just developing a library of content that is ignored. So according to YouTube right now, quality, topic choice, title, thumbnails, all of these things can be measured and should be considered when you're developing your YouTube strategy. Hey, if you're enjoying this content, you feel like you're getting some value out of it, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you're really bold, leave me a nice, beautiful comment below. Okay, on to the next one that Rob says. He is saying that use comments and your own videos for new ideas. Viewer comments can tell you what people want, and watching your own videos can show you what you did not explain clearly. Those weak spots can become your future video topics. And so I agree with that. The comment section can be very, very valuable. However, there is a caveat attached to that, like many of these. Early channels may not get very many comments. So if you're a brand new channel, it's not uncommon for nobody to say anything. You know, you're just going to be hearing crickets for maybe those first few videos. But if you strike a nerve with somebody, then yeah, you're going to get comments. Another thing to be aware of, sometimes people on YouTube can not be very nice. So even if you are getting comments, maybe they're just going to blast you something they don't like, something about you that they, maybe you rubbed them wrong in some area and they're going to let you know about it. But you got to develop thick skin in this game. This is a very public platform, so you're going to get all kinds of responses. Applaud yourself when you get a positive response or somebody shares your video. You're doing something right when that happens. Next, affiliate marketing is an early monetization option. You can promote products that you use or that you want to review. Also, you can place affiliate links right in your description, and this can all be done before YouTube officially monetizes your channel. So that's all true. Affiliate links are valid, and you don't need to be monetized by YouTube in order to use them on your long form content. They don't work on short form content, so you need to be aware of that. But the reason why you do want to add affiliate links in your description is because you never know when one of your videos is going to go parabolic. If a video goes parabolic, that means you're getting thousands of viewers on your content, and they do read descriptions, and they may be interested in something that you are an affiliate of. For example, I have affiliate links in my description for this microphone, for this Osmo Pocket 3 that I'm using, and I can see through my dashboard for the affiliate links that I am getting some clicks, but I get very few people that are taking action and making purchases. So that's just something to be aware of. I wouldn't count on affiliate links making a lot of revenue early on in your YouTube journey, but it is part of your strategy that you should include. So the next thing that Rob got into was YouTube monetization. Now, that is a topic that I believe a whole video is required to really get to the root of that. So I'm going to save it for next time. Make sure you're subscribed so you can watch that video when I drop it. But his next point that we'll talk about here is start with simple equipment. A smartphone is enough. You don't need expensive gear, and you certainly don't need expensive lighting. You can use natural lighting to light your video. So the counterpoint to that would just simply be that simple equipment is enough, but poor production quality will hurt your channel. Bad audio, bad editing, these are all things that can make people leave your video. Beginners should really keep it simple, but you should always aim for clear audio and clear image. And the next point that he makes is really a vital one. He underscores the fact that modern cell phones have really good cameras these days. It's all you really need to get started. But the microphones on these cameras usually leave something to be desired. And a basic external microphone can make the video feel 100% more professional. The only pushback I have to that is that better audio is not going to fix weak content. A good microphone cannot save a boring topic, an unclear message, or poorly structured video. The best first upgrade, I would say, is better strategic planning of your video plus good audio. So if you're starting to feel convinced, if you're starting to feel motivated about starting your YouTube channel, well, I have good news for you because I've already put together a setup that will give you excellent video quality and excellent sound, and it's super simple. I'll link you to that video right here. But first, watch the end of this video and then go click on that one. So one of the last points that Rob makes is that your video can be simple. The initial video that you start, make it simple. Introduce yourself, tell people what your channel is about, invite them to like and subscribe. And he says that the point is to get started, not to make the perfect first video. So that point can be a little bit debated because it may be better to actually make a video that's useful, a video that is instructing people, or a video that grabs the attention of your audience that you're trying to reach, rather than an initial, hey, this is what my channel is about type of video, because that video is likely to not get many views, if any. It's noteworthy that searchable or problem-solving videos usually perform much better than welcome to my channel type of videos. But if you're just trying to get started, then maybe that's not such a bad way to go. So the last point that I'll cover from Rob is that he says you don't have to be perfect. He says he uses bloopers to show the awkwardness of starting. He says mistakes are normal and that getting comfortable on camera takes practice. And I agree with all of those. Perfection is not required, but we should be of the posture of heart to get better with each video, because people will forgive awkwardness, but they won't forgive content that's not useful to them. And of course, the more excellent that you get with your YouTube channel, the more people are going to subscribe and watch your content. And that is really just the goal. So Rob's conclusion a year ago was that if you're over 40, it was a great time to start a YouTube channel. And I believe that even now, if you're over 40, if you're 45, 55, 65, it is a great time to start a YouTube channel today. Why? Because YouTube is growing. The way that people are watching YouTube has moved now to the television set. That's where us Generation Xers, we spend a lot of time on the television. And guess what? We're watching each other now talk about various topics, talk about how to do things, talk about what's interesting to us. So if you're contemplating starting a YouTube channel, let me just encourage you. Whether you're a Generation Xer, whether you're somebody that's younger, this is a great time to be involved with YouTube, maybe start a business, and maybe if you're like me, use it to generate some income so that you can be where you want to be and go where you want to go. I like Asia. I love the USA, but my heart is to live in Asia. So my final thoughts, check out Rob the Maritimer. His channel is worth viewing. Subscribe to my channel, and we're going to keep talking about how to generate income via different remote opportunities. And living overseas, and especially topics that resonate with Generation Xers. Okay, until next time, I'll see you later.